CNC machine, and these are the laser diodes I used to use, little 2.5 watt laser engravers. I also did some wood cutting on this machine, but I've since upgraded to the bigger CNC machine, which I'll show you right now. So what we're looking at here is a much nicer, higher voltage. It's a 12 watt pulse, average 7 watt. So it's probably, let's say, 3 to 4 times more powerful. So it can burn hotter for longer. It's got a built-in controller board. I purchased this from Alibaba, so it came from China, and this cost me around $300. So I thought it was a good investment versus spending more money on the cheaper lasers. This laser is mounted onto my bigger CNC machine. If we back up a little bit, the bigger CNC table is about 3 foot by 5 foot. Most productions ones will probably be 4 foot by 8 foot, so they can fit a solid 4 by 8 sheet of plywood on them. But I went with what I had and what I could afford at the time. Maybe I'll upgrade this someday. For those who don't know, a CNC machine is a 3-axis wood cutter traditionally. It runs along a Y-axis, an X-axis, and a Z-axis. Normally what I have on this machine is a wood cutter. A DeWalt DWP-611 makes quick work of most plywood that I put underneath it. More recently, I've attached my laser onto it so that I can do things such as cut out of some leather. Hat is what I made recently. And I can get really fine with the laser so I can punch even holes for stitching on. It's a real pain though to replace the wood router with the laser. So I need to find a way to either quick release these if I want to continue using laser on the big machine, or mount the laser on to the router. So that's what I'm going to try to do today. I'll start by taking the laser off. So here's the laser again. It's got a built-in heatsink, fan, controller board, and there's the laser diode. I have this attached to just a piece of oak, I think, so that I can easily mount it onto these mounting bracket holes. The DWP-611 mounts onto a different bracket right here. So I'm thinking about maybe attaching the laser onto the side over here. That may be a lot of weight, but this really isn't that heavy as compared to this. I believe the gantry can hold it, but we'll see after I put it all together. So I have to come up with some way of mounting this onto here. These screws that tighten the router into place come out quite a bit. I could probably, if I get a thin enough piece of metal behind there, screw something behind there. I was looking for another metal bracket that I thought I had back there, but I found something that just might work. Pretty tough. Even has a little lip on it. Could probably just hold the top 2 screws out of the 3 on the bracket. Which is probably good enough. That's all it's doing right now. And then I could get it to mount onto those screws. So let's cut some holes in it. So this isn't an exact science here, but I'm just going to try to line this up as best I can where I believe the middle is. And where my 2 screws are. And we'll drill this out. I don't have a punch set, So in a pinch, a nail would work. Although it's going to really ruin my nail, but it's not really that expensive to buy a nail. So now I've got two pretty good holes. So let's see how they fit. Not bad. One issue I'm going to run into is I won't be able to travel quite the distance that I normally would on the x-axis, but I'm going to sacrifice a little bit of convenience for having to fully take this entire gantry off here every time I want to switch between the wood router and the laser. So when I want to do some lasering, I can just bolt this onto the side of it and then start lasering. I keep this thing from moving. I bolted it down, but then I also used some Gorilla Glue on here, so this might be an effort to get this off of here. It's going to take some effort, I think. There we go. Now that we have it off, I'll put it on the mounting bracket. We want to have it as far to the left and as far down as possible. If I have any excess metal on the right hand side, I'll actually try to trim it off. Now I can start to assemble some of these parts. I had to buy a few new screws and whatnot from Home Depot. Looks like it's all set. That was a lot of work to get that on there. But I went through that whole process because I didn't want to take this whole gantry off. Normally what I did when I first put the laser on here earlier was I took the whole x-axis off the Y slide by removing the end plates, and then I can slide the X gantry, Z gantry right off of that after removing one of its end plates, so I can work underneath this a little easier. I was trying to avoid that, but I think I might just have made it more difficult. Now if I want to use the laser, I can just plug in the laser right here and run it. If I want to use the regular router, I can just use it. So if I'm running the regular router, I'll probably take off the laser so as to not get its components dirty with wood. In fact, I'll definitely do that. But now it's much easier to remove it. I just have these 2 screws and 2 bolts right here that are easy to access, and I can remove the entire laser assembly. Well, that was my video for today. Thanks for watching.